Ah! Oh, what's up, chat? Do you think it would be faster with real ink since there is no redo button? In my case, I think that would just result in a reduce in quality without necessarily making me faster. Also, there is a redo button. It's called whiteout. If you watch like YouTube vids of professional manga artists who draw in analog, they don't get a redo button, but a lot of them are just like, yeah, I just white out shit all the time, LMAO. So, also, some of them just like straight up redraw pages and stuff, so. The problem is, as an artist, if the editors let artists have a redo button, then they're gonna start using it. Just look at Murata and One Punch Man. He's straight up redoing like the same 30 episodes, like 2 volumes worth of One Punch Man storyline multiple times, so. At least now BaalBud knows why manga have so many health issues. I mean, also, they all, like, drink a shit ton of caffeine and smoke, so. It's not like, if they weren't on a tight deadline, they'd all be living super healthy lifestyles where they do yoga every morning and stop smoking and have a vegan diet or some shit like that. They're all like fucking degenerates that smoke every day, drink a shit ton of caffeine even when they don't need it, love eating ramen. It's funny because the Japanese internet is perpetually terrified how the author of Made in Abyss is gonna die like tomorrow, because he's posted the results of his what do you call it, health checkups, and like he has blood pressure that medically should have him already be dead, and then he also tweets about how today's lunch was pork ramen and stuff, and everyone's like, oh god, he's literally gonna die now in front of our eyes and there's nothing we can do to help him. Do you think Murata will reach the Eternal 8 Purgatorium for redrawing One Punch Man? I don't know, man. There's all these different theories of why Murata keeps on redoing One Punch Man. I think it's just because he's a perfectionist, or because he has too much money, so it doesn't really matter if he sells a new volume. I think it's this. When artists become too successful, editors can no longer give them their opinions anymore because they're in like fuck you territory. So then there's nobody to like pump the brakes on when they start going down their rabbit holes. That's like my #1 issue that I think they have, but besides that, there was all this theorizing of why Murata was redoing the same One Punch Man chapters, and some people were like, is it because he's on bad terms with One? What's going on? who isn't, because we don't know who's in charge of the Murata version story. Apparently he has some amount of communication with One regarding the story, but not all of it, so it's really unclear to what degree that comes into play. Also, One Punch Man, the original comic by One, hasn't been updated in quite a while as well, so there were people theorizing that Murata was delaying because he was waiting for One to draw more of One Punch Man. The silliest part is One Punch Man is like the least important manga in terms of like worrying over whether your story makes sense or not, when it's literally just a bunch of silly stuff happens and then Saitama shows up and punches the enemy and then solves everything. So I think it's hilarious that this is the manga that is getting redone and delayed multiple times because the author is like, no, I have to change the plot. You would think it's publishers, but in practice, Shueisha wouldn't fumble the generational talent that was Murata by nagging him about getting his shit together. I'm pretty sure that Murata came to Shueisha. This is what I've heard. He came to Shueisha saying, like, I'm gonna do this, but you're, like, contractually obligated to not be able to tell me what to do. So, I think there's very little editor oversight. I think he also asked for them to contractually allow it to be posted free online. Like, I don't think they would have it so that you can read literally every single chapter for free from, like, a publisher standpoint. I don't think they'd be okay with that for a manga that sells as, like, 30 million volumes or whatever it's sold. Are you getting a rare colored drawing? People keep on asking that. No, I'm not going to start fucking coloring drawings. Do you really want it to take like 8 months for me to finish this single fucking chapter? Somebody in chat explain to these people what the selection layer is. I don't know, anybody who draws stuff or wants to become some version of a professional artist knows this process, but I'm currently going through the cycle of I'm gonna make it, no, I'm not gonna make it, what the fuck was I thinking? Which is something that you go through back and forth on like a day-to-day basis, but last night I was like, holy shit, this is professional level quality. I'm fucking good to go. I'm gonna make it. And then this morning I'm like, what the fuck was I thinking? This is such bullshit. BB might as well be colorblind. I mean, do you want delays to happen even more? Because that's how delays happen. People being like, oh, it's not done unless it's colored. Guys, look at my DeviantArt account, guys. I took this page that's in black and white, drawn by the Naruto author Kishimoto, and I completed it I colored in this black and white page, guys. I'm a real artist. This is like every Western internet teenager ever. By the way, some mangaka actually have professionals color their book covers for them because they don't have time to figure out how to color shit. The old coloring Naruto pages days. I mean, has those days actually ended? think they're still the same. How many of you have been on DeviantArt in the last 5 years? I sure as fuck haven't. I mean, I was never on DeviantArt to begin with, but... It's fucking terrible. I'm not even gonna go to DeviantArt to see what's going on. Tumblr was better for tits? No, I mean... What was DeviantArt good for? The same. Whatever. Good for watching cringe. A fun thing is to go on DeviantArt or Pixiv and just like type in a random name, and then you can like find somebody's OC character that they've drawn it the same OC character like 7,000 times, and it's like, holy shit, we've entered the spectrum zone. What's new, big homie? Instead of properly drawing last night, I bought about 10 volumes of The Four Knights of the Apocalypse, 7 Deadly Sins by Suzuki Nakaba, and I've been screen capping them and then saving them on my computer. Why? Because I need to learn how to draw stuff, and I need references on how to draw fantasy backgrounds using pen and ink, and so I can't fucking draw it with like photos, so I just been trying to mimic Suzuki Nakaba's inking weight, line weight, and black and white balance for a while now. You bought them legally? Yeah, the yen is so cheap. I mean, I want them in Japanese, so I'm not even gonna go to like one of those scantillation sites. Like 15 volumes is like 40 bucks, so. And I want the maximum level scan quality, so. I just decided to buy them legally. Considering I'm going to be looking at the minor details. So I can be like, what the fuck is he doing with this each individual pen drawing stroke right here, so... Also, I've been modifying my my pen. If you look at this, it says Real G Custom. Real G is... The Real G pen is the most popular pen that if you ask for pen recommendations for people using Clip Studio, it's like the most common one that everybody uses for drawing character lines. And I wasn't using it for a while, but now I'm basically trying everything to make my speed increase. But I didn't like some of the specifics about that, so I was fucking around with those things as well. The bros that can draw from imagination and not use references are gods. How do they do it? How? The answer to that is there's actually not many people who just draw from imagination. Most of the professional artists that you idolize actually use a shit ton of references, and then there's a few of them that can do it without references, but most of them... In fact, the more of a professional the artist is, usually they have more and more references. Do you use a lot of pressure? That's another thing I've been going back and forth on. Theoretically, the harder your pen is, as in the more pen pressure you require to make a stroke, the wider the variety of lines you should be able to draw. There should be more leeway from a purely theoretical standpoint. But if you do that too much, then you're like asking your hand to sort of work overtime. So I've been having a difficulty trying to figure out what the right pen pressure is, and I just went back to default for now. I was also fiddling that in the last few days as well. I think I might just have to stick with a certain settings for a while and stop fucking around. It's almost like one of those people who keep on getting caught up in get-rich-quick schemes, being like, no, this is the one in which I'm finally going to make $1 million. I'm always like, this is the one in which I'm going to finally find the right pen settings, and then I'll become a god-tier artist. Trust me. And it's like, I don't know about that, bud. I actually thought you had a screen graphic tablet. I have a no screen graphic tablet. I have an XP Pen Medium Pro. That's something that I'm not going to fiddle around with. I really don't want a screen. I don't like having to see my hand in front of where I'm drawing. The last time I drew on paper, not only does it suck not having Control-Z, but just the act of like having this big object block the paper and what I'm trying to see. It's like, what the fuck is this hand thing? Get out of the way, hand. Yeah, I also have a piece of copy sheet paper just added to the... I have it taped on, basically. The problem with this, with having the copy paper trick onto your screenless tablet, is that it degrades your pen tips faster. However, I also found a way around this, and it's just to use a file on your pen tip and then round out your pen tip, because usually you're not using your pen tip down to the last millimeter. You're usually replacing it because it gets too pointy in one direction, and that was what I was doing. But I have all these pen tips that are just sitting on my desk that I can still use if I just file down the tip of the pen nub, so it's a little more round, and then I can keep on using it. It's also really shit for posture. What, screen tablets? I mean, I sit in shitty posture to begin with, but yes, if you're using a screenless tablet, there's a much wider variety of different postures that you can draw in, I guess. I just use magazine paper and it seems to wear the nib all the same, if not more. Are you talking about your plastic digital drawing device nib or like an actual pen? If you're doing an analog, it has way more problems than just working digital, including the pen tips. If anyone who's used a real G Pen, and I don't mean the real G Pen in this program called Real G Pen, I mean a real G Pen, you'll know that pen nibs are extremely finicky, and they don't really do what you want to do all the time. Those who have proximity pens instead of battery runs, I'm pretty sure I have a proximity pen. In fact, I don't think I've ever drawn with a battery powered pen. I think it's always been proximity based. I mean, I can draw on this using this pen without the pen actually touching the tablet if it's close enough. It needs to be like about 5 millimeters away from the tablet. Tip seems to be very durable. I don't know how many hours, but I think I can use my pen tip for like a month if I don't worry about it grinding down and I just keep on adjusting the shape using a file. And eventually I'll have to file the tip down to the point where if it gets any shorter, it's gonna get stuck inside the pen stylus. I bet that elf wears granny panties or a gross thong. What makes you think she wears panties at all? Elves are one with nature. They don't need panties. I will atone for the sins of Murata that Murata committed when he publicly said that Tatsumaki wears panties when she clearly does not, and claimed that this elf actually has no panties. He lies. There's no way Tatsumaki wears panties. Working on black and white, do you actually use the 50 Shades of Grey or just a couple of them? So if you're working in Clip Studio Paint, see this? Basic expression color, you can choose color, gray, and monochrome. So if I put it on monochrome, and I choose to use gray, nothing fucking happens. I'm drawing on the page right now. Oh, this counts as a version of gray. At some point, they'll still let you draw. They'll still let you draw. Still let you draw. Oh, this is the one. If you go down this line, at some shade, they're like, this no longer registers. And all of these are the same color of black, as you can tell. So this is full monochrome. I don't use that. I use the option where it's instead of monochrome, it says gray. Actually, I use color because I like drawing in color to like measure stuff. But obviously, if you want to be printing in a manga or something like that, it has to be full monochrome. So what you have to do is you have to go back for these shades of gray. And what do? I can't remember. It's some kind of menu option. I'd have to look at it up again because I haven't done it in like a month, or like years actually. Oh, here you go. Convert to lines and tones. So if I click on this, it should. I just go OK. Yeah. So I think I did that for only this layer. And I think everything else is not monochrome except for this layer right now, yeah. So if you look at what was originally gray is now a screen tone instead. And then I can just press Control Z and it's back to being gray. But I use grayscale because I want to be able to use the opacity slider, because I can't really figure out what kind of tones I want to use when I'm initially drawing, because I just don't have the ability, because I'm not good enough. So I put on the gray first, and then I use the opacity slider to try and figure out what level of light and darkness I need for every single screen tone. And there are some stuff like the dress of the elf, if you'll see. It looks like gray from afar, but up close it's a screen tone, and those you have to use the selection tool instead. Can we get a quick glance to Aubrey, please? Love her angry expression. I'm tired of drawing the underage version of these characters. I like doing the One Piece style flashback to indicate dramatic backgrounds, but I don't actually want to draw children all the time. But anyways, I don't convert any of the grayscale to screen tones in this case, because if you're posting it on the internet, it's not really important, right? People are going to be looking at it on their monitor. It's only important. So usually if you download comics, in many cases they'll have the digital version for like online views, and then the one that they have for the tankobon book. And the difference is usually whether the screen tones are still in gray mode or they've been converted to the dots. And if people do a bad scan in their scantillation work and shit, it can often end up looking really bad. You get the weird visual effects going on. More shotas? No. No more shotas. The latest One Piece series that just started from the guy who made Red Hood is a Viking Shota manga. And when the Shota transforms into his ultimate form, he's wearing like basically a bra, and it's showing off his childbearing boy pussy hips. And I was on 4chan before I got up today, looking at what people were saying, and they're all like, "I'm not gay, but LMAO, ha ha ha." But seriously, I want to fuck this child boy. He just can't stop, yeah. There's no editor to jump in front of this fetishist train, so it's probably one of those things where the editor is like, maybe you shouldn't draw fuckable shotas for once, and the author is like, if you're asking me to not draw young boys, then I will quit my job. and I will never return. And they're like, okay, okay. Some things are non-negotiable. Whatever fuels the passion of the grind, I guess. I don't know, man. Truth is, I don't really like drawing manga or reading manga. I only draw manga because there's nothing else left for me to do in life. No wife, no kids, no pet, no truck, no addictions, no vices. Only manga to grind. That's all I have left. If I'm not gonna grind manga, what else am I gonna do every day? Get a wife, Baka? I don't want to be around other people, though. He's a husk of a man. Once I started eliminating the aspects of my life that I didn't really care about, suddenly not much was left. If you think about it from that perspective, people who can get dopamine hits just by rolling their stupid fucking gacha games, maybe there's something to be said about that. Maybe they have a better life. They just need to spend tens of thousands of dollars for shitty JPEGs in their shitty game that's gonna have its service ended. Or the people who can get dopamine hits by playing horse races and stuff like that. Or being like, this is the time when I finally beat the system that's built to extract money from me. People get dopamine from tossing balls back and forth and turned it to a part of culture. Yeah, but that makes more sense. It's activating your lizard brain function of your frontal cortex or whatever the fuck. We're supposed to be going outside and walking around and doing shit. There's not enough black on this page. The balance between grays, whites, and blacks is the thing that I have the most difficulty trying to figure out. Sometimes I'll be like, this page is too bright, there's too much white, and then I'll be like, there's too much black, and there's too much gray, and shit like that. And it kind of changes on which monitor I'm looking at and stuff. Fuck. It's so fucking over, guys. We're not gonna make it after all. It's almost like it's a subjective concept. Turns out that we need the friction from things we don't want to do to make the dopamines pop off. Are you saying that I might be hurting my brain by looking at porn 24 hours a day and just endlessly masturbating nonstop again and again and again? And then I wonder why I no longer find real world women attractive. And I'm like, how could this be? I'm living a perfectly normal, healthy lifestyle. By the way, that's not true. When I go to Japan, my penis goes into overdrive. It just turns out that all the women in my area, i.e. America, are not attractive, and it's normal for my penis to not want to have sex with a unhealthy, overweight woman who's like, you know, white woman in her early 20s, and yet she's somehow like 40 pounds overweight, as if she's like a fat old lady. Somehow my penis doesn't respond to that. In fact, when I'm in Japan, like, I need to make sure that I masturbate every single day before I get on the train or something, because I'm terrified that if I see a fat office lady ass in front of me in grabbable distance, my lizard brain is going to activate. I'm just going to reach out and grab it, you know, so frequent masturbation is a must. There's no option to not masturbate. Damn, ball, that be harsh. I don't know where you live, but there are some parts of America where more than half of the population is grossly obese. That's not even exaggeration. It's just straight up a statistic. Maybe not obese, but at least overweight. He's got a point. I'm in San Antonio and it's monk lifestyle friendly. I remember how Charles Barkley, every time San Antonio Spurs went to the NBA Finals, so they'd have to talk about him. Every single time he'd talk about San Antonio women, as in how fat they were, despite him also being a fat fuck at this point in his life. And considering the Spurs went to the finals like 30 times, we get to hear about him talking about how fat San Antonio women were like 30 times as well. It was pretty funny. But think about this. San Antonio probably is one of the less fat areas in Texas, because it's still somewhat of an urban area. If you want to get to the true fat fuck areas, you have to get out of your blue state section and get into the red state section, where people can't even like walk to the local grocery store, and they have to use their truck to get anywhere. That's when you know when you're in true fat town. I mean, U.S. obesity rate by state. Adult obesity prevalence maps. Here we go, guys. Keck W. That's a lot of red, boys. Look at fucking Colorado. Just this one dot of green in this ocean of red and orange. Red is between 35 and 40%, guys. And this isn't just overweight. This is, I think this is like actual obesity. Proportion of adults with a body mass index greater than or equal to 30 based on self-reported weight and height. Even the somewhat blue state, more left-wing places like California, New York, Hawaii are still yellow. Literally only Colorado is like the significant state that is under 25%. It's the fucking mountains making people in Colorado, yo. I mean, Colorado, they're all probably like outside skiing and like smoking weed instead of drinking soda or something. Shit, I don't know. Could this also double as a Mountain Dew sales chart? Not according to the promotional materials. Hashtag do the do. If there's anything X Games have taught me, it's that the average Colorado ski bum, the only reason he can perform those awesome 1080 flip side trick or whatever is because he's doing the do trademark. Majority of Colorado population lives in high altitude areas where it's hard to breathe if you're fat. It's selecting the people who can live there, basically. Everybody who's too fat to survive in Colorado either dies or leaves. That's what's going on. I mean, I live in a relatively urban area, and the moment I drive out of my urban blue state bubble, which is like 30 miles or something, to go to the local Home Depot or some shit, and I park my car in the Home Depot parking lot, it's just truck after truck after truck, and if you see somebody get out of the fucking truck, they're just like, oh, I'm getting out of my truck, oh, and they can barely move. This is the American experience, guys. You can make yourself exponentially more attractive just by getting fit in the new world of tub. Guys who can be crushed underneath 300 pounds without dying are in high demand. I think part of the problem is that beauty standards for women have become extremely accepting. There's just a lot of guys who are willing to have sex with grossly overweight women. And some of that is vice versa as well, as women who are okay with fat guys as well. But at the local gym, I definitely see way more horribly overweight women than horribly overweight guys. If you're a woman and you're 40 pounds overweight, it's just like, no, this is, you know, I'm just curvy, guys. No need to change. You're beautiful as you are, Yolanda. I like chubby, but there's a limit. There's a safe level of fat that you can have on your body, and there is unsafe levels of fat. And you can reach the unsafe levels of fat pretty quickly. I say this as someone who has been watching a lot of sumo related content, and sumo wrestlers have to do insane physical activity, just grueling weight training and, you know, that type of training every fucking day, to the point that if they stop eating shit tons of food, they immediately like lose 20 kilos and stuff, and they're no longer match weight. But even with all that exercise, they still get like diabetes and stuff. Recently, a former Yokozuna died at like 50 because he had like sleep apnea and all sorts of weight-related issues. So even if you're like active and doing sports and stuff like that, carrying around a lot of weight is still probably pretty bad for you. Hey, what's up? May Basho started today? Yeah. Feels good watching these fat fucks destroy their health and long-term prospects for our entertainment. And they get paid way less than like professional football players and stuff as well, so it's a tough life. So long as you can fit out of a restaurant bathroom window, you're good. But that's such a hard requirement. Restaurant bathroom windows are tiny. There's no way I could fit out of that thing. I assume you're saying that because when you eat too much Denny's Grand Slam breakfast and you realize you don't have the money to pay, then you have to escape from the Denny's bathroom so that you won't get charged. The thing is, Americans don't pay for shit in cash, so they can just put it on their credit card and not worry about it being in massive debt. The average sumo wrestler's body fat percentage is lower than the average person. Yeah, but they still get all these fat-related health issues. I didn't know that until I started watching these YouTubers, sumo YouTubers, and they were like, yeah, I got diabetes, that's when I quit. I was like, fuck. You got diabetes? Shit. Well, I guess we're all done. If the sumo wrestler can't exercise his way out of diabetes, then none of us can. We just have to lose weight. Basically, when sumo wrestlers retire, the doctor is like, okay, you have to lose weight immediately or else you're gonna just fucking die right now. The human body just isn't built for sumo. Yeah, humans aren't really strong, fat body type, unfortunately. It would be cool if we were. I wish we were the strong, fat body type. The elephant seal body type. That would be sweet, but we're just not. Mid-tournaments, they're usually all taped up because of small injuries and major injuries, to be honest. I mean, the number one reason why people aren't built to do sumo is because our joints can't handle that shit. I'm guessing the number one reason why sumo wrestlers retire early is just because they've fucked up their joints permanently. I mean, you'll find this out as you get older, but when you're 40, your fucking knees are killing you no matter what, so I was a kid and I fucked up my knees by doing squats when I was losing weight in high school. It really is that easy. Yeah, I wasn't even fat and I fucked up my knees playing too much pickup basketball, so whatever magical cushioning we have in our kneecaps, it wears out super easily, and then we're just like fucking carrying all of the MCLs and CL shit that we have inside our kneecaps, and it's over. I also rarely saw a sumo wrestler who remained fat after retirement. Maybe Konishiki. Konishiki definitely remained fat after retirement. But the Yokozuna I was talking about was Akebono. He just died. Akebono died at 54. And the thing was, even after he retired from sumo, he was doing mixed martial arts, like K1 and shit. So he was like, oh, he was doing professional wrestling too. So he was pretty active all the way to 2017, it says. It says he had a heart disability. But like, even relatively young sumo wrestlers, some of them will have sleep apnea and shit. Sleep apnea is a crazy way to die if you think about it. Wasn't there like a famous Twitch streamer or like video game related guy who died from sleep apnea? It's just like, I mean, how do you even know if you're snoring? There's all these like snoring things that you won't notice because you're literally fucking asleep, and then just like one day you don't wake up because you stop breathing during the night. I mean, that's definitely something I'll be vulnerable to because I don't have like a wife to tell me that I have sleep apnea. So unless I go to some sort of special sleep clinic or some shit to monitor my sleeping patterns to see that I'm healthy, then I won't even know if I'm gonna fucking die while I'm asleep. You can die from sleep apnea? Yes. Because sleep apnea is when you stop breathing intermittently and shit during the night while you're asleep. So you just straight up stop breathing and die. Her poor back. We don't feel sympathy for elves in this stream. I snore like a truck and I have a crook septum. Snoring can be one of the warning signs for sleep apnea. I'm not sure when or when it isn't an issue, but like if you wake up from your own snoring, I hear that's a warning sign or something. I don't know. I don't think I snore, but again, I wouldn't know. Need to find wife, maybe. I see a lot of Japanese internet trolls be like, you're gonna regret being single after you're 40. They're trying to make the people that are browsing like 2chan or the equivalent of 2chan in 2025 feel inadequate and being like, oh, I have to get married, blah blah blah, but it's not like everybody who's married is happy as well. I don't know. I feel like these tits are just standard size Inazuma boobs. Huh. I want this line to be slightly darker. I mean, this is why it takes me forever to draw a single fucking thing, because I keep on doing minor adjustments and stuff, but this comes back to the balance between whites and blacks and grays and stuff. You can fuck with the balance of whites and blacks and grays just by fucking around with line thickness. Like if you look at Suzuki Nakaba's goat line thickness, the fact that he has these really strong, well thought out outside lines that are crisp as fuck, it allows him to get away with more white spaces. Look at the balance. He makes sure that he has these very prominent white areas, and then he puts in the grays with like shading, and then like hard blacks here, shading, but this is also close to hard black. Same for this space here. You want to have a clear like chunk that's like has a white energy, and then chunks that have grayer energy, like this that he does with the shading and detail, and then chunks that have black, that are fully blacked out. Trolls more like government agents? I don't know. They can try and claim as hard as they want that you need to marry and have children to be happy, but I don't think has been a single country that has reversed their birth rate declines in the modern era. Every single country that has reached modernity in terms of like technology or economy or whatever it is that's causing it has had birth rates decline below the 2 number, the 2.2 or whatever, which is required for replacement. And no amount of like pro-feminist social programs or anti-feminist social programs or money or lack of money or whatever has caused birth rates to go up. How do you feel about screen tones? I think you have to be careful not to overuse them. It's easy to have too much gray, I feel. Remember like 10 years ago, people were super worried about overpopulation? Yeah, I've said this before many times, but when I was growing up in the 90s, people were always like, being like, no! Africans, you have to stop having children now! We're all gonna die if you don't stop having children. There'll be mass starvation! And now they're like, no, have children, please! Remember, this is happening at exactly the same time as everyone is like, global warming is happening, guys. Why aren't you taking it seriously? The world is doomed. If we don't solve global warming now. And it's like, you know what would be a good way to solve global warming? If there are fewer people on the planet. That would help a lot. But then we're like, the capitalists are like, no, not that. We have to solve global warming in a way in which we don't reduce consumption, because if the line doesn't go up forever, I won't be the richest human being on the fucking planet. I mean, China is right now literally just begging their citizens to fuck. Please fuck now. Now, please have sex. It's the only way. Our one-child policy was a horrible mistake. Oh god, what have we done? That's what China is saying right now. Is the elf blonde? I mean, she's never getting colored, so if you want to think of her as blonde, that's fine. The anime default for horny characters with big titties is pink, of course. This is a well-known anime trope, is that pink characters are horny. We all know that. What happens if you have more than one child in China even? You can't pay for a lot of their shit that they need because the Chinese economy is kind of fucked right now. It used to be during the one-child policy, I think you had to pay a lot of extra money, and now the government is like desperately asking people to have more than one child and it's not working, so... Imagine accidentally having twins. I heard that it was like a huge problem if you have twins and stuff like that in China during the one-child policy. I mean, it's communist country, right? Everything is a huge problem. You have dishonored the party guidelines. Let us send you to re-education camps for happy fun time for the next 5 years. The Uyghurs are enjoying themselves right now at Uyghur summer camp, guys. Everything is fine in Xinjiang. Nothing to see here. As someone who grew up in a post-communist country can confirm everything is a problem. Now imagine growing up in a currently communist country. There's a reason why China hasn't invaded Taiwan yet, and it's because they have a shit ton of problems besides Taiwan that they have to think about. Apparently Xi Jinping fired a lot of his main generals recently, which shows that he doesn't have any confidence in them and the military and stuff. So I don't know, China has a lot of problems. Apparently, there's a lot of Chinese factory workers who aren't getting paid, so they just burn down their factory, which is kind of base, to be honest. Twitch, I'm not suggesting that people should burn down their workplace just because they don't get paid. Also, Communist Party, please don't reduce my social credits. Yeah, nobody actually reports on this shit because the Chinese side of the internet is blocked off, and there's all these internet censors that make sure those videos disappear quickly, but they show up on the internet for brief periods of time, and everyone's like, oh, it's another person burned down their local Lego factory or whatever. No, not my social credit score. I tire of hearing the high-pitched pig shrieks of my neighbor's toddler. The current house I live in which I do not pay rent, Mommy's house, is situated near a middle school and a daycare center. So, yeah. Having the window open during the summer months, not much fun. Not my favorite time of year. Put that child in a mine already. Make the children contribute to society. Fucking ungrateful little pieces of shit. The primary job of a child is to help till the fields so we can increase farming production, and then also take care of their siblings, as we've had like 7 children who are also, their job is to also till the fields. And when they get older, we kick them out of the house because there's not enough farmland for everybody. But most of them don't get older anyways because they die of polio or something at age 5 or some shit. So it all works out, guys, don't worry. There was no porn back then, so your homely wife with childbearing hips looked way more attractive. Also, you couldn't see her in the dark. You just sort of rummaged around and stuck your penis in. And then she would shit out like 5 children. The manosphere influencers were like, yes, that was back when men were allowed to be real men, before feminism got in the way. We have to go back. We have to start eating liver again, guys. Hashtag Liver King. You must ensure that you do not leave the eldest sister alone with the young ones for too long. I read Dojin that showed the dangers of that once. I mean, how bad can it be? One-chan just loves you and wants the best for you. There's nothing wrong with that. Why don't you use fill2 to fill up those spaces? Because none of those spaces have the lines properly closed. That's why. The fill tool is a sensitive piece of shit. And it doesn't do what I want it to do. .341. Okay, Nuggets versus Thunder has started, so I'm not going to end the stream yet, but I'll end it in a little bit probably. Because I do want to... Part of the reason why I started streaming early was because my room is going to get hot, but the other reason is because I wanted to watch NBA playoffs. And that series is kind of looking like it's going to be pretty good. Not gonna lie. I'm glad I'm not a betting man, because I would have lost a shit ton of money on these playoffs, that's for sure. See, I'm not saying I'm done yet. I don't watch, like, the first quarter of NBA basketball, because it always feels like a huge waste. Like, the first quarter of the NBA game, it's always like they're going through their sets they prepared during the off days during practice, and it never ends up reflecting the rest of the game. So I don't actually watch the first quarter for sure. I only watch like second quarter, and then like I go and do something else during halftime, and then I don't come back, and then I'm like, ah, shit, I missed the third quarter, fuck. And then sometimes the fourth quarter is close enough that it all pays off, but shows you that I don't actually care that much about sports, I guess. you guys watch Evo Japan, I was watching Evo Japan last night, and I found the Tekken stream to be especially funny because all the commentators were like, "Don't worry, guys. We're getting a patch really soon. This game isn't dead. I know you're complaining about the state the game is in right now. But don't worry, it's gonna get patched. Surely it will be patched very soon." When it said the excitement continues, I couldn't stop laughing. To be fair though, when I opened up my browser and it was like Tekken Top 8 Winners Finals, and who do I fucking see? It's just Knee. Knee is there again. I'm just like, okay, I don't play Tekken. I've heard a million bad things about the game, but if it's the same fucking guy in the final for the millionth time, how bad can it possibly be? And then I saw some of the other matches and I was like, oh, I see what the problem is. I was watching like the losers final and it was just somebody playing Claudio, and Claudio was just like his turn never ended and he just kept on mashing anime moves again and again and again. I'm like, oh shit, the spacing really is gone. But it's funny because when you were watching the Knees matches with Brian, it actually looked like normal Tekken. It's like, huh, I don't see the problem with the defense. Why are people complaining? It's like, nah, that's just Knee. That's just Knee doing defensive shit. PS5 straight up melted adapter. The PS5 is not built to run anything besides their proprietary controllers, and even those like keep on breaking. Did anyone ask about today's goon material? Guys, stop asking about my goon material. What would you do if I was just like, I'm not gonna masturbate anymore? Also, I usually don't remember what I masturbated to. It's like, how many people remember what they ate yesterday and stuff? I immediately forget that information. Same thing for jacking off. My brain just isn't interested in storing that type of information. It's just like, huh, it's not very important. Normal Tekken, you mean Brian's wall splatting hatchet kick is normal Tekken? LOL. I don't know, but my image of normal Tekken is like a bunch of Koreans moving forward a few inches, then moving back a few inches rapidly. So they're sort of jerking around each other. And then every once in a while, Dragunov will do his low-mid chop motion and will take a very small amount off the health bar. And then every once in a while, someone will hit a flip kick, and then the character will be launched, and then they'll lose like 70% of their health. That's how I expect Tekken to look like. But Tekken 8 looks more like one character attacking endlessly, and then after about 30 seconds, finally the other character gets to attack endlessly. And they just repeat that back and forth. So maybe that's not what people want out of their fighting game. If I liked what I ate, I remember it. Or if I dislike what I ate. There's also that. I find fighting games an obsolete format. It had its place when we had old arcade cabinets. Sounds like you're just not a fighting game fan, my friend. Fighting games are an obsolete format in that they're a skill-based video game in which you can't blame your teammates for you losing, so people who don't enjoy getting better at something and instead just want to get the dopamine rush, i.e. League of Legends players, can't appreciate it. It's for real competitive chads, which is why I don't play them, because I don't have time to, you know, memorize frame data and shit, so I don't get my ass kicked in bronze. I don't even have time to play any game at this point. This month's PlayStation Plus selection of free games is actually pretty fucking good. We get Balatro and Bolt Gun. So I'm looking forward to playing those, but I don't have the time. Turn-based RPGs are also obsolete. They were obsolete from the start. People who like them will never stop playing them. I mean, what video game genre isn't obsolete? You know what a genre that's actually obsolete is the genre in which people don't buy the video game even if it comes out, and then developers stop making the video game. Like RTS. Rest in peace, RTS fans. Go back to playing Command & Conquer, Red Alert on your $5,000 PC, because they're not making any new games for you. I mean, turn-based strategy actually outlived real-time strategy if you think about it. I mean, even if you don't think about it, it did, but people are still gonna play Fire Emblem, Marry Your Sister Wife, Episode 5. But people aren't gonna play whatever new real-time strategy slop that comes out. Because there's no way to be comfy with real-time strategy. The entire point of real-time strategy is, oh, look at me controlling all these units at the same time with my mouse and keyboard. I'm such hot shit. I mean, if you think about it, like, why were we so excited about learning our StarCraft build orders back in the day? What's so fun about that? APM go burr. I don't know how they count APM, but if I was just endlessly clicking my drone line non-stop, wouldn't that just give me a high APM even if I was getting my ass kicked? And then I'd be like, yeah, I lost, but I had 5,000 APM because I was just clicking non-stop the entire game. You fucking chuds wouldn't understand. 300 APM Giga Chad over here, my friend. When StarCraft was hot, internet wasn't there for me to know that pro schizos existed. And then you go online and then you get Zergling rushed in the first 5 minutes and you're like, no, how is it possible? I'm still mining minerals in my comfy city builder simulation. And then in 5 minutes, they have fucking mutalisks. What the fuck am I supposed to do? It's like, haha, you're not trying hard enough. And even that is only the light version of that issue compared to, say, if you were on the fucking Korean server. Imagine if you were a white guy just visiting Asia and it's like, I sure love my favorite game, StarCraft. Let me log on to the local server and see what happens now that I am in Korea. Clueless. Surely everything will be fine. Oh no, I've made a horrible mistake. I just played other 6-year-olds. It's always more fun when you get to beat the shit out of Billy, your nephew. Little Timmy being like, no! How do you throw fireballs? It's like, it's a secret. You're too young to understand, Timmy. When you're older, I'll teach you the Shoryuken motion. But now you must get your ass beaten by me, both in the video game and in real life. You'll thank me later when you become a strong man. I'm doing this for you, Timmy. It's building character. The first mistake was playing StarCraft. StarCraft was super comfy as a first player game on my Nintendo 64. Do you want real dead game genre? It's text-based RPG. Yeah, but isn't that what all the AI-generated content is right now for all the people playing AI dungeons and stuff? I feel like that's just an evolution of a text-based RPG at this point. It's crazy that the same 6-year-old kids that were ultra competitive in Counter-Strike 1.6 are now 30 and still playing Counter-Strike 2. They never moved on. Happy birthday, but I'd like you to know that I don't celebrate birthdays and I think birthdays are stupid, so I'm not going to say happy birthday to you. Oh wait, too late. But I still think happy birthday is stupid. People shouldn't have to celebrate a specific day of the year. If we want to buy ourselves shit, we should just buy it on our own and not worry about having a reason. And if we don't have the money to celebrate shit, we shouldn't be celebrating in the first place. I watch like a financial help show because the whole point of the show is to watch like people with fucked up issues so you can feel better about your own situation. But so many of those people with like $20,000 of credit card debt are like, yeah, I didn't save any money last month. I went into $7,000 of debt just last month alone because it was my birthday month. Like, that's a legitimate thing. There's all these in-debt people who are like, not only is it my birthday, it's my birthday week, or it's my birthday month. Like, these dumb fucks are like, I'm gonna waste my money and celebrate the entire fucking month. 1/12 of a year. I'm just like, holy shit, no wonder you have 10 maxed out credit cards, you stupid fucker. That's insane. Americans are like that. This is the power of the American debt system. But yeah, I've always thought that birthdays were kind of stupid. Not always. I mean, I guess as a kid, I was like, yay. Like, when you're a kid and the only way to get the stuff you want is begging your parents for your birthday and Christmas, then it has a meaning. But once you're an adult and you have a job, I don't really see the point of birthdays. For me, birthday month is just a time in which I have to update my vehicle registration. What the fuck is birthday month? What the fuck? It's an excuse that in-debt Americans, usually in-debt women, are like, oh, this is the time for me to treat myself. I work so hard. I don't know. I just, I don't understand people who are super into birthdays. In fact, I generally want less stuff instead of more stuff. So I don't want people to be celebrating my birthday, and I don't want people to be buying shit for me. If you ask me, somebody like buying some shit that you don't actually want, that's just like an air fryer that's gonna take up space in your house, is definitely a net negative, not a net positive. And if you have two opportunities for multiple people to buy shit for you on Christmas and your birthday, by the time you hit 30, there's basically nothing you actually need. So what you get from a birthday is an opportunity for people to be like giving you shit that you don't want that's gonna take up space. So unless it's just like you have a rule of you only give me consumables like chocolate or some shit like that. So yeah, I'm not gonna complain about people giving you chocolate on Valentine's Day. But I definitely don't want to celebrate birthday and be like, here ball, it's a fucking pony. Yeah, I don't need a fucking pony, okay? Maybe tell them what you want, but where's the surprise then? I have told them what I want. I want nothing. And it took a while for both my father and mother to stop celebrating, but I have trained them to give me nothing, and then for me to give them nothing. They can celebrate birthdays and Christmas on their own, but I just don't fucking do it. Air fryer versus rice cooker, which one wins? Well, I'm in a Japanese household, and my mother made the very stupid mistake of buying an air fryer, and it's been used like 3 times. And it's just sort of sitting on the counter, and she doesn't want to admit that it was a fucking waste, so she hasn't put it away yet. Whereas the rice cooker gets used every single fucking day, so I think it's pretty obvious which is better. I feel like air fryer is a sort of in-between thing. It's, you want to eat some unhealthy shit, but you don't want it to actually be unhealthy. Well, everything that's like that, whether it's low-fat ice cream, low-sugar ice cream, you know, healthy pizza, all that stuff, it always ends up fucking sucking. The reason why unhealthy food tastes good is because it's unhealthy. Trying to make the healthy alternative to unhealthy stuff is just a waste of time. Just eat the unhealthy stuff and eat less of it. That's how I think about it. You're not going to be satisfied by whatever low-fat version you cook up. So unless there's some sort of food that's only good in air fryers, then I'm not interested. And so far I haven't seen anything. I still don't get how air fryer is different from to normal oven. Both heat with hot air. Don't ask me. I have no fucking idea. It just tasted... My mother tried to use air fryer to make, I don't know, air fried chicken or something, and it just tasted like dry and crispy. What makes things taste good is salt, fat, and sugar. So any attempt to cut out the fat from the process is just, it's not gonna end well. Just to state the obvious, but we are supposed to be social creatures, not neckbeards dwelling in the basement. It's mostly excuses to tag along. Maybe you, but I'm gonna be a neckbeard dwelling in the basement. None of you can stop me. If I want to be drawing for 10 hours a day to actually make manga, I have to be a neckbearder in the basement. That's the truth. How many normies produced 500 pages of manga? The answer is fucking none. Rice cooker only make rice and it's not that hard. Rice cookers can make things other than rice though. It's not just rice. You can make rice variations, basically. I must draw and write code in my basement, otherwise the game comic will not exist. I was outside getting some sun though. I do go outside and get some sun every once in a while, but that's only to survive. Everything else happens in the basement. This is where the magic happens. And by magic I mean 10,000 hours of grinding, unfortunately. Do you remember the AT&T's commercial female with big tits? Is she gone permanently because people noticed she had big boobs? Just like the Samsung girl. Did the thing happen where the internet notices that a woman has big titties or is hot or something, and then the corporation is like, no, that's not what we wanted. We don't want you to be attracted to female. This has already happened multiple times, I feel. What happens if I Google AT&T boobs? Keck W. If I Google AT&T commercial boobs, the first thing we get is a The Sun UK edition. I'm hurting. AT&T ad actress breaks down in tears after creepy trolls bombard her with messages about the size of her boobs. Somehow I feel like she didn't actually break down in tears. This is the equivalent of the fucking death threats. Internet death threats when everyone complains about how horrible it is to get death threats on the internet. Girls being like, it's so hard that all the men on the internet are lusting after me. How will I make it in this cutthroat industry if people think I'm hot? Sorry, but call me kind of skeptical. Do you hear India-Pakistan conflict at last World War III? The best part of India-Pakistan conflict is that if those two actually start a nuclear war with each other, nobody will actually, like, participate besides them. So it will not become World War III. Do you think anybody's gonna be like, brothers, we must, now is the time, we must all stand and help our Pakistani friends? I mean, does anyone even remember when there were like there was massive flooding in Pakistan to the point where it basically wiped out like 20 million people's worth of farmland, and everything was like infested with plague and mosquitoes. It was like literal biblical proportions of disaster shit. And because the Pakistani government was absolute trash at everything, of course, like there was no help going anywhere. And then, like, after about 3 days, international news reporting on it fucking ended. And I was like, well, I'm glad that problem has solved itself. I'm sure all those dirt poor Pakistani farmers with literally their entire house and family underwater, infested with mosquitoes, are doing fine now that we've stopped reporting on it. That's how much people actually give a fuck about India and Pakistan. Like, at least if it's in South America, maybe the Pope that cares about poor people is gonna visit it and shit. But because it's in the Hindu-Muslim sphere, it truly is the, like, nobody gives a fuck zone. Currently, tell me the current thing I'm supposed to virtue signal about. That's the thing. I don't think people are even willing to virtue signal about Southeast Asian lives. I think people don't even give a fuck. They don't even give a fuck enough to actually pretend like they care. Like, any of the comments, there weren't many comments about, like, a situation which might actually result in World War III, which says a lot. People are just like, whatever. And then, like, even the comments that I saw on, like, the New York Times website were people with Indian names in their fucking bio, being like, Pakistan has always allowed for terrorists. And it's like, yeah, it's true, but I don't care. Not my problem. Surely the issue wasn't there a week ago and won't be there next week. It's pretty funny how in the 90s I actually, like, was LARPing as someone who cared about third world people's lives. And I was doing it entirely for the point of virtue signaling and trolling. This is me when I was like 12 and stuff. I was like, yeah, you have a problem with me not completing my homework, Miss Beasley? Well, if you have such a big problem with me, why don't you go save the starving children in Africa, huh? Yeah, I didn't think so, you fucking virtue signaling poser. Checkmate, atheists. That's how I was behaving as an obnoxious retard right around when I was hitting puberty. If you care so much, then why don't you save the fucking rainforest, huh? And now I'm just like, yeah, that's all fucking stupid virtue signaling. Nobody actually gives a fuck. Doing that at 12? I don't know. It was part of my edgy phase. Pretending I care about people was part of my edgy phase. I'm glad I grew out of it. Maybe all comfy office joke jobs being exported to New Delhi, scam callers, and influx of Indians escaping India to your city will result in a lot of compassion. Were they really that comfy, though? I feel like the jobs being exported to New Delhi are only slightly more comfy than, like, working in a horrible manufacturing plant 24/7. They're still completely soul-crushing and meaningless. I mean, is being a Microsoft tech support slave really that enviable? The benefits is that you get to sit inside instead of with air conditioning instead of being outside, but besides that, it's not like it provides any real meaning to your life. I don't think people get jobs in search of meaning. I want more meaning in my life than endlessly talking to some dumbass who can't use Windows 11. My job doesn't have to be super rewarding, but it has to be a little more rewarding than me constantly wanting to jump out a fucking window and end myself. So no, I don't feel envious about the jobs getting exported to India. Although, of course, it makes my experience as a user pretty bad. Protests about how the Indians are stealing our jobs. Who has stolen the most American jobs? It's definitely not the illegal immigrants. Me? You're fucking unemployed. I'm just gonna assume everybody in this stream has stolen no jobs because everyone's unemployed. It's definitely not the illegal immigrants because like half of the illegal immigrants all work in like Tyson Foods slaughterhouse plant, so nobody is like, no, I love my job working as a fucking chicken disemboweler. It's so much fun cutting up frozen chickens 24 hours a day. The thing is, if you want to do the jobs that the illegal immigrants or just immigrants in general are taking, you can definitely do them right now. It's like, oh, you want to pick fruit? Because the farmers will definitely welcome you. Enjoy getting paid $3 a basket. That's probably too much. They probably get paid like $1 a basket and they have to do like fucking 10 baskets an hour or some shit like that. Italians and Irish back in the day and the Polish Jews. Remember back when we understood that the Italians and Irish were not technically white people, and thus that we categorized them in the same sort of ghetto category as we do now for, I don't know, Guatemalans. When did we allow these European underclass people to join the WASP Protestant proper American white person category? It makes no sense. Weird how racism didn't fixate in race, but actual ethnic characteristics or religion. Race isn't real, guys. I know this is like a left-wing talking point and shit, so we're trying to like erase all the leftist language, but it was always true. Race was never real. It's just this vague construct. Time to end stream, pack it up, shut it down. Twitch is a leftist website. I'm allowed to speak the white, the woke content. Race was never real, guys. At what point does a black person become white? The answer is nobody fucking knows. Because it's a vague, subjective construct. I hate white migrant who came here 20 years after my dad is a crazy take. But that's how they justify it. Some people weren't categorized as white, though. If you were a certain type of European, you weren't white. I mean, even Catholics weren't considered to be proper Christians. As hard as it is to understand in 2025, but Americans were legitimately terrified that JFK, because he was a Catholic, would be a slave of the Pope instead of a proper American and stuff like that. White Anglo-Saxon Protestant. You need to be hitting all the categories to be a proper American landowner. I use race as mainly phenotypical expression corresponding to different groups of people who, by inhabiting their territory for hundreds of years, their bodily features have adapted to the environment. Yeah, except those bodily features immediately start to become mixed with other bodily features as soon as those people start having sex with other people with other bodily features, which is why you get all these weird rules like one drop rule during black slavery and stuff, being like, no, it doesn't matter how light your skin is, your great-great-grandmother is black, you're still a slave. That type of stuff. If you read Uncle Tom's Cabin, a book that was literally written during slavery to be against slavery, one of the main protagonist characters of Uncle Tom's Cabin is a couple of black slaves, who their skin tones are so light, people can't recognize that they're black, and then they get to escape to Canada by it not. They can just sort of like wear proper clothing and escape that way because their skin is too fucking light for people to even recognize. Your features change during sex. Your features don't, but your children do. Obviously. What if I believe that God told me that I need 15 underage wives? Would that make me a proper American? Or are you a Mormon patriarch? Otherwise you might get locked up at the loony house over the hill. Even some of the Mormons got locked up eventually. You need to be the right Mormon. You can't be one of the loser Mormon types. You have to be the powerful, successful Mormon archetype. Or else you'll be considered to be a non-canonical version of the Mormon Church. Is Canada goated then? If you were a slave and you were trying to get out of America, it was kind of goated. France managed to remove any mention of races back in 1900 in its constitution and laws, but the US exports all of their problems. To be fair, a lot of the US racial problems, while they seem to be unique to the United States, they were part of the whole international cotton picking trade, so it's not like the other countries weren't involved in them. They were like somewhat involved in them. Also, France had plenty of their own racist policies, like colonizing African countries and shit, so... It all sort of goes together. I will never forgive the French for making Haiti pay reparations for having the audacity to abolish slavery. Fuck those guys. A lot of people have said that about French for a long time, and yet the French don't seem to care. Amazing, isn't it? Hence why so many people don't like the French, because they did tons of horrible, heinous shit in their history. And then they pretend like they have some sort of moral superiority all the time. They're like, we're the center of culture, when all of the culture is shit they stole from other countries. I went to the Louvre. It's full of Egyptian shit. Honestly, pretty based. Just go to other countries and be like, you know what? This religious artifact kind of looks cool. I'll just take it. The locals won't appreciate its artistic importance the way I will. How do you do sound effects? Is there a site you go to? What do you mean sound effects? You mean the lettering of sound effects? Why would I need to go to a site? Here's how you do sound effects. Take a fucking pen. Here. I just added a sound effect by drawing it. Don't like it. Let me redraw the sound effect. All countries have and still aspire to be Rome, though. I mean, the modern American guy. There's a bunch of sound effects materials in the Clip Studio Paint. Somewhere, I think. I'm not sure where it is, but I've never used them. They're somewhere. Maybe they're in materials. I don't know. You'll have to look up a tutorial for it. But yes, if you're really bad at writing stuff, and there are pre-prepared things that you can use instead of doing your own lettering. But I'm the wrong person to ask because I've never used them. And people always say they like my handwriting, so I figure I don't need to change that. I don't know. I feel like the sound effects lettering and stuff is just as much a part of your manga style as your inking and shit like that as well, so I don't think it's good to use materials. I feel like people read manga and stories and stuff like that because they want the unique view the author provides them. So the more pre-prepared material you start using, the more you're depriving visual interest from your page. And eventually, it just kind of looks like a really bland, mass-produced image if you're not careful. So you have to be very cautious about using pre-prepared stuff. I feel like it's a poorly drawn background is just as valuable as a well-drawn but computer-generated, mass-produced background. They're both not necessarily great. So if that's the case, then you may as well use your own poorly drawn background, because at least in that case, you might start getting better at drawing backgrounds in the long run. I think Japanese weebs like Japanese sound effects because they can't read them. But what about this? God, it's so easier to fill up the page in Japanese because there's a wider variety of sound effects you can use. I wish I was drawing in Japanese because then I could really go all in on my fucking, you know, onomatopoeia. You could just be like, oh, do I need to fill up the page here? So dramatic now that I have this giant don in the middle of everything. Luffy! 私を海に連れてって。JoJo reference, time to end stream. Somebody already made a JoJo reference during the stream. It's fucking over. Alright, now I am gonna end stream because it's time for me to watch the NBA. Also, my room is getting hot and uncomfortable, so... See you around, guys. Good night. Have a nice night.